A visitor? Could it be? Oh, I'm so glad you've come. Is it to meet me? No, it couldn't be. You didn't come for me. You came for a tale of the Louds, didn't you? Fine, I'll tell you a tale alright. A tale when they first met me. Well, except for that Lucy girl. She's a good disciple of mine. It begins with Lincoln at the sitting room fiddling with a video game. And he was doing quite well, in fact. He was doing better than he ever had done. Consequently, he didn't want this golden streak of his to dissolve. So he kept his business away from his sisters as best as he could. Especially from Lori. She had been hounding the family for the whereabouts of her phone. They toiled away for an answer to give, but none could be found. Stroking her already blistering fury, now Lincoln had ears, quite good ones at that. So it was no surprise to him that Lori would eventually come barging into his session with a most asinine request. She didn't utter a word as she loomed close behind. She had no need. No, Lori, I don't have your phone, Lincoln began. Lincoln, I've looked everywhere for it except here, Lori uttered in brimming resentment. Then look again, Lincoln retorted spitefully. Look, Lincoln, I don't have time to look for it again. Bobby might be calling me right now and I wouldn't know, Lori reasoned desperately. Sucks for you, Lincoln dismissed unsympathetically as he unpaused his game, jumping back into his little world, an act of defiance that Lori would not be having, so she stormed directly into Lincoln's view. Lincoln. Lori, Lincoln mimicked, ducking his head around Lori to face the screen. Ugh. Lincoln, you've got 5 seconds to either get up or that thing goes off, Lori threatened. Whatever, Lincoln dismissed stubbornly, keeping his eye on the prize. Consequently, laying the final straw on Lori's back. Really? You want to be like that? Fine, I'll do it right now, Lori proclaimed. Reaching under the TV set, she grasped tight on the largest cord connected to his gaming console. Wait, no, please, Lincoln beckoned out, but unfortunately for him, he was simply too late, Lori proudly announced, much to Lincoln's chagrin, as he looked on in mourning at the guts of the gaming console and the TV's lack of signal. He collapsed onto his knees, devastated. You monster! Sorry, Link, but next time, maybe do what I say, Kay? Lori smirked from up high, burning up in Lincoln's distraught shock, leaving nothing but flaming hot hatred in its wake. Do you have any idea how long it took for me to get up to that part? Suddenly, right at that moment, Lincoln and Lori froze solid, as Lori felt something deep in her pocket vibrating, to which Lori smacked her forehead in realization. Of course I left it on silent. You're kidding me, Lincoln uttered, stuck in a stupor of both shock and awe. Well, yeah, Lori paused, taking in Lincoln's dumbfounded look. Well, look, on the bright side, at least we learned something, right? Lori suggested, but Lincoln didn't answer verbally. Rather, his pained, blank stare told Lori all she needed to know. Actually, I leave that part up to you, Lori added, slowly but steadily leaving the scene of the crime, and Lincoln alone to wreathe as he kneeled over onto his side, bundled up in a ball of defeat. That was until that disciple of mine appeared from behind the couch. Hi, Lincoln. Ah, Lincoln shrieked, bounding onto his feet in fright, till he met with Lucy's ebony bang. How do you even do that, anyway? Practice, I suppose, Lucy answered with an unsure shrug, adding to Lincoln's suspicion. Practice like sneaking? Lucy almost gave an answer, but relented at the last second. She shook her head. Magic tricks? Lincoln asked unsurely, to which Lucy didn't give an answer. Lincoln groaned internally at that. It's magic, isn't it? Not entirely, her lips curved into a barely noticeable grin, but it plays a part. Lincoln raised a brow in confusion. Then, what's the other bit? I'd rather not go in depth, but let's just say if I wanted something to happen, then I'd go to my friend and put in a little favor, Lucy explained, making Lincoln purse his lips in intrigued thought. Just keep it small though, Lucy disclaimed. Small, huh? Lincoln repeated, turning his head behind him, facing the stairs, hearing Lori already on her phone. Is revenge small enough to ask? Lincoln inquired. And here I thought you didn't have a dark side, Lucy complimented, making Lincoln raise a brow in confusion before widening his eyes in realization. Oh, no, not that kind of revenge, just enough to I don't know, get Lori to stop being so airheaded? I think that can be arranged. Come nightfall, I had already heard Lucy's request and accepted it, wholeheartedly. As the plot she devised was so devious, I could never resist. And the plot, of course, was to take her to a place where all Lori knew was not. So I plucked her out of bed and into the palm of my hand. Of course, she didn't know that, and without that clarity, fear gouged out whatever tender warmth was left as she gazed all around the everlasting abyss of space. She begged and pleaded to know where she was, getting her estranged answer at the sight of Earth close enough that she could only hope to grasp it within her delicate hand. I could feel that she wasn't sound of mind at the sight of her home so far away, so I held my children's prying hands back, at least for now. Instead, I let her delirium spread further as she surveyed the decaying gray crater speckled landscape. At first, she believed it to be the moon since she was close enough for that to be the possibility. But a closer look told her that this ground far more resembled flesh than rock. Noting that the ground beneath her pulsated, breathed even, heaving her unwavering fright over her quivering shoulders, she almost fell into what felt to be the edge of yet another crater. However, this was no mere crater. This was an entire canyon of hidden visceria, massive expansive blue pulsating veins carrying my children's drink. Following the veins up led her eyes to greater ravines. Ravines so deep they revealed one of my many bones. A sight that made her think maybe this wasn't just something, but rather someone. Of course, I alone wasn't the sole living being here, as Lori herself quickly found as she spotted a pink, blotchy creature suckling its drink vehemently. Narrowing her eyes, Lori spotted another and another, countless more lined along my vein, all of them digging their nailless, elongated fingers into my veins synchronously, cupping their hands in wake of the blood spilling forth, that they drank from with their toothless mouths freely. Lori fancied herself mad, for the sight before her was so maddening that Lori simply couldn't draw any other conclusion than mania finally overtaking her. But this was no illusion, as staring right back at her were all my blind children. Yet, not at all senseless, for they all managed to ogle Lori ravenously as fluid trickled down their pink bare chins. Until suddenly, the flesh underneath Lori's feet tore and split, the craters behind Lori pushing forth like rapidly expanding balloons, madly scraping against my decayed, fraying skin. Whereas all that Lori could do was watch on in despair, as the horde of millions on my necrotic arm quickly turned into trillions upon trillions of terrifyingly steadfast forces of savage instinct, utilizing their blunt claws to scale over each crater in their wake. Looking back one final time, almost every crater had finally been ripped away. Waves upon waves of them closing in, so closely upon poor Lori that they ripped and tore each other in two, just to get to Lori faster. She didn't know where she had gone wrong, she just wanted a rest, not this, and truth be told, 'tis a pity, for I wanted to study her this close for just a little while longer. Oh well, let the horde quench their thirst, for they had waited long enough, I thought, as beyond hundreds of them grasped at Lori's frail form, hacking and slashing at whatever fresh fluid they could sink their claws into, indulging themselves in a brand new meal. In truth, I could have kept her there, left her till my offspring rent her flesh down to the very bone if I so wished. But if I did that, then my children would never return to my flesh. Lori shot up from her bed drenched in sweat. She darted her eyes around her bedroom, finding that she was all alone in the midday's rays. She looked under her clothes, trying to discover any claw mark. None were seen, of course. She knew she wouldn't find any. It was just a silly nightmare. Then how is it that she could recall every graphic detail? Sleep well? Lucy appeared just out of Lori's view, much to Lori's fright. Ah! Lori jumped back into her bed sheets, darting her eyes around, trying to find how she got inside despite the locked door. Never mind how I got in, Lucy dismissed callously, astounding Lori's shaken mind. Did you just read my mind? Lori raised an accusatory finger. No. You guys are always wondering how I get around is all, Lucy explained, putting Lori's suspicion a little more at ease, though that didn't say much. Okay then, Lori replied as she furrowed her suspecting brow. So, did you sleep well? Lucy pressed. I guess. Sorry, I just had this super weird nightmare, Lori began, to which Lucy took a seat beside Lori. Do tell, Lucy encouraged. After the end of Lori's retelling, Lucy stood up from where she sat. Thank you for the story. Hope your next night's slumber goes much smoother, Lucy wished, pacing out of the room whilst bearing the slyest grin I or Lori had ever seen, only adding to Lori's ever-growing anxiety. Later on in the day, Lori and Lincoln collided when they were both attempting to go through the stairs. Oh, sorry, Link. I can't talk right now. Sorry, Lori apologized in quite a perturbed tone. Hey, what's the rush? Is something wrong? No, Lincoln, everything's fine, just... Look, I'm sorry about yesterday. I should have, thought first before I did all that. But that's not the only thing that's bothering me. Lincoln understood her shame for yesterday, but what was the other thing? It's not... No. Can you talk to Lucy for me? She's acting really weird today. As soon as Lori mentioned Lucy's name, it all just about fell into place for the snow-haired boy as he aimed his crosshairs at Lucy's door. Yeah, I think that can be arranged, Lincoln obliged, much to Lori's elatement. You will? Oh my gosh, thank you, Linky, Lori thanked with quite the smothersome hug. You're welcome, sis. Lincoln got out just barely. Oh, sorry. Lori let go in slight embarrassment as he came crashing to his knees. You're not mad about yesterday, right? Lincoln sat and thought for a moment as he caught his breath. Let's just let sleeping dogs lie, yeah? Yeah, Lori agreed, the silence drawing Lincoln's eye towards Lucy's dreaded door. Well, good luck in there, Twerp, Lori smirked as she ruffled his hair before going on her way. Hey, what did we just agree on? Lincoln chided playfully as Lori slipped out of view, setting his sights back to Lucy's door. His brow furrowed in determination as he approached and turned the doorknob open, being greeted by Lucy lying flat on her bed. Ah, welcome, brother dearest, Lucy greeted with a knowing smirk, much to Lincoln's confoundment. What? Look, I know you did something to Lori, and you better tell me what that was. I merely did as you asked. That, of course, making her not so airheaded, as you put it, Lucy relayed. Well, yeah, I know that, but what did you do? Lincoln bellowed impatiently, but Lucy just smirked at his ire. Nothing. I just called in a favor from a friend, but that's about it from me, Lucy confessed, merely fueling Lincoln's growing wrath. Alright, you better give me straight answers right now, or I'm getting Mom up here. How about you just thank me for what I've done for you, and then go back to that little game of yours? Besides, if you get Mom here, then I'll be forced to incriminate you for your involvement in all this as well, Lincoln wanted to further argue with my disciple, but even his stubborn nature saw the frivolity in doing such. Fine, you win. I'll leave you be. Lincoln gave in, carrying himself out of Lucy's room. Yes, Linky, let sleeping dogs lie. Lucy grinned eerily at Lincoln as he closed Lucy's door behind him. Will you ever tell them of me? Not yet. Not until they've all borne witness to you, at least in the same way Lori has. Okay, guys, this is going to be kind of like a short review, because there's not much bad to say about this. There's nothing bad to say about this, really. So, this story was a very good creepypasta. I liked it, though it wasn't very horrifying. It really wasn't. It really wasn't that scary, right? You could tell that DJ totally had fun writing this. He used a lot of imagination. And once again, he created his own monsters, one being him as the writer, and then his children that tore Lori apart. That was a nice added touch onto that. I actually really enjoyed that. Everything he writes is a classic. Like, he doesn't do none of the cliches. Like, he always changes his stories. None of his stories that I've read so far are cliches. I really enjoy DJ as an artist, right? So, very nice, right? I also like how he has Lucy, which is the gothic sister of Lincoln's, as the minion for the monster that he is. And he has her help him do his dirty deeds. And he has her do what he wants her to do for him. That was pretty cool. He uses her to help him terrorize people, basically. I like that. That was pretty cool. Like, I enjoy that. So, like, him as the artist or the author, he's like, I can do what I want, and there's nothing you guys can do about it, right? So that's basically, he's taking control, and he's breaking the fourth wall. I actually enjoy that. Like, it's actually good to break the fourth wall every once in a while. The story is definitely a good read, and I would suggest anyone interested in creepypastas to come give this a read for yourself. I think you guys would enjoy it. It's very solid. It's to the point. He didn't carry on. I think if it was like a longer creepypasta, like an hour or so, it would have been a problem. Like, that would have just been too long. You know what I mean? But it's good that he ended it where he did because it felt just right. So almost everything that this kid writes is solid. He's definitely a 10 out of 10 artist. He's definitely like the best artist in the creepypasta scene, in my opinion, right now. So you guys should go check out his stories as well as his YouTube. I'll link some of that stuff down in the description. Go check him out. I hope he writes a lot more that way so I can record a lot more of his videos or his audios or his books. With that said, I hope you guys have enjoyed. If you guys have, hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button down below with the notification bell on. Let's see if we can get to like 30,000 subscribers this year. With that said, I hope you guys have enjoyed. Leave a comment in the comment section down below telling me what other creepypastas you want to see. Do you guys want to see SpongeBob cartoon creepypasta? Do you guys want to see like Peppa the Pig? Do you guys want to see anything? Just leave a comment down in the comment section below. I'm starting to think about doing anime creepypastas too, so let me know what you guys think about that. I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.